Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word, Lord willing that you all continue to endure and be sincere. Shalom to the Akwathiyam, believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing that you all can continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving, a silent, and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. This lesson is directed, to women, in the truth and out the truth. This is a beautiful learning point. We should all grow and we should all understand. Look how society molded us, right? But now that the truth is coming out, now we can be the way the Lord wanted us to be, especially playing our role as a woman or a man, a wife or a husband. But when you look to the left, you see this is an image of the 90s. And when you look to the right, it's dealing with, I guess, the start of the 2000s. When you look in the 90s, the mileage, 30 kilometers, dignity, yes, engine used like new, really talking about her body, her Karuchi. It says 4 kids with the same father from 1940 to 1999. On the right, mileage is 650,000 kilometers, no dignity. Engine beyond repair that she been ran through, right? Multiple. But it says 4 kids with 4 different fathers from the 2000s all the way to 2024, but we're in 2025 too. But even if she got 4 different fathers, you have to know it's more than 4 men that lay with that woman, especially if it's beyond repair, right? And even in the time of the 1940s or 1999, most of our daughters going into teenage, going into grown-ups were, moved to be virgins, let alone, yes, of course you had that moment where you like somebody and secretly you lost your virginity, but they were always taught marriage, right? But I want to get a few verses, especially a verse that I came across, from reading, doing a little reading. This is Lamentations chapter 1 in verse 6. The main point is the first sentence. It says, "And from the daughter of Zion all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer," right? And the main point is the daughters of Zion, their beauty was departed. And I even believe that's in the Maccabees too. And, some of our women are either obese, of course, BBWs, right? There's nothing wrong because some of them look good, fat BBWs. But us men, most of us have a particular look or interest in certain women. But even if women look good, they lost beauty within. They lost confidence within themselves, where even between the 1940s and 1999, majority of our women from the southern and northern kingdom was wearing their natural hair. In some curses that we see, you'll see the southern kingdom look more afflicted from those curses than the northern kingdom. But Israel as a whole, these curses pertain to all of them. But at the end of the day, when we even deal with short hair, which we're going to get a verse later on, the northern kingdom, most of the northern kingdom is not affected, but the northern kingdom have those problems too, because they are Israelites too by blood. So whatever is affected by the southern is going to be affected by the northern. But in the time of the northern kingdom coming to the Americas, the southern kingdom was majority afflicted with that. Majority of the southern kingdom you see wearing wigs, mostly insecure, right? Both tribes is putting makeup on, but majority you see Judah doing that, especially from celebrities, going all the way from top ranked celebrities to baddies to regular streamers, to regular social people in the world, women that's hopping out in the street into clubs, cover their image with makeup or lace fronts. They lost their beauty where they're lazy to fix their natural look, but take time to put on fake stuff that doesn't make sense. even more, our women don't even want to work out. So now they go to Dr. Miami. They go to a foreign doctor just to get plastic surgery to enhance their look instead of working on themselves, or maybe changing their diet, eating different. Because a lot of things that we eat are chemically processed, and it kind of messes up with our look, right? Like a lot of soda, a lot of GMOs, a lot of things mess up you in the inside, and most of the time it is shown on the outer appearance, right? So let's get a few more scriptures if we can. The next one I want to get is Proverbs, the 7th chapter, and I'm gonna read verse 7. This is Proverbs chapter 7, verse 10 and 11. It says, "And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot, in subtile of heart. She is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house." When you see the image on the right side, now it's a norm for women to show more cleavage. Seen a video of a dude that smacked a girl butt that was revealing, and she got mad, right? And the lady said he had no respect. It's other videos where men would talk to a woman like, can we get it in? Can I stuff your taco? Instead of trying to like fully get to know her, she felt that was disrespect. But he said the way you're dressed, you're giving off something else. Now, this society, Esau gave it a norm that it's okay to show cleavage. Now the regular woman looks like a prostitute, right? OnlyFans is a natural job now, right? Because most of our women have on harlot attire, and their feet don't abide in their house. A woman always want to go somewhere, right? Is either with you or without you. She always want to be on the move. And most of these women, especially on the right hand side, have children, and always looking for a damn babysitter. Now that you got children, you want somebody to watch them so you can have a good time, even women that are married. But to go even more to describe this, a woman who is bold and without shame, wearing suggestive clothing and lacking modesty. Now, modesty can go into mental behavior, like how you think, and your actions, and your physical appearance, right? And so that harlot attire goes into modesty. Let alone if she's moving like a harlot, guess what? Her actions, how she look at her actions show that she doesn't have modest behavior, right? Let's go to another one. Let's go to Proverbs, the 9th chapter, in verse 13. "A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing." And a lot of our women fall into this example where her being clamorous, she's loud and disrespectful. Woman is seen as foolish and lacking wisdom. Sometimes, most women, even back then, if you were mad or an argument came out, a woman wasn't yelling at her husband. Regardless if he was wrong or right, women respected the order of a man. Now, especially when we look at certain issues like Ruth, not Ruth, Salaki, Esther, right? Of course, you can see it in the movie as an example. I wasn't there, but as an example, we seen Ruth didn't see her husband, and she was trying to find a way, like, man, I haven't seen my husband. Hey, man, what's going on? Now, a woman on this side, she would be in an uproar. Knowing he a king, back then, a woman had to get permission to be presented to the husband, to the king, depending on where he at. Because usually, most of the time, if we really with our women, yes, we enjoying her, but most of the time we taking her to the bedchamber, right, to get it in, because a man was in motion. And most kings or men of that time, they attracted women, especially if they were renowned men. They attracted women, so women had respect. But if they felt like they wasn't being called or being used as a woman, right, as a servant, a helpmeet, for your pleasure, they would feel like something is wrong. But a clamorous woman is going to be loud. In the ancient world, when a man was of the Lord and a woman was playing her role, a woman wasn't clamorous. She wasn't loud, and she wasn't disrespectful, right? And we have that in this society. In the 90s, it was less so. But the only thing, though, the wisdom, knowledge, and truth wasn't sprouted until the late 1950s going into 1969, we started to really understand this truth, really understand um, a modest woman, or a daughter of Zion, better at that. So now let's go into the Apocrypha. Let's go to Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, and we're going to read 8 and 9. It says, a drunken woman in a gathered abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. And we can already look at the right hand side, where we can look at her haughtiness in her looks, right? In her eyelids. Most women is moved by those damn lashes. But in another sense, a shameless woman brings shame and is identified by her behavior and her appearance. This is why most of us men, we look at women in a logic state, right? This is why a man can be attracted or want to get in, want to lay with a woman just off of her, seeing her and then having her vibe and be like, oh, yep, I want to be with this woman. Especially when we look at Isaac. He didn't spend time with her. He knew it. He seen what he liked. He seen how she was, her modest behavior, right? And he took her right in the tent and it was over. So in this logic sense, most of us men, we all move like that, in the truth and out the truth. But really, you go to, I think it's Sirach 36:21, KJV, and in the G&T, a woman can be with any man, but a man should choose his wife carefully, right? And this is the reason why we want to make sure that we're choosing our wife in a modest mindset, in a modest behavior, and a modest appearance, right? Because that's your trophy. That's yours. As soon as you lay with her, she's your possession. It doesn't matter how many women you got. She's your possession. So those goodies should be covered, unlike the woman on the right hand side. A shameless woman brings shame and is identified by her behavior and her appearance. If she got four different baby baby fathers, but the fathers of her children, she's hopping around, right? And let alone she didn't find no commitment in none of them. Most cases, women say this man was cheating. He liked another woman. A man, it was created to be attracted to women. Of course, this society pushed otherwise. But sometimes some men is pushed away from women because of her behavior, and they find interest in another woman. And even if you tell a woman behavior, this society keeps growing, and a woman grows into the society. And most women, especially in the 2000s all the way to now, you can't change their behavior. That's why when you really come into this truth as a man, a woman is she has to abide by your direction. Because now when a man of the Lord follow the ways of the Lord, a woman is a reflection of how you move, for the Lord. Right? So a modest woman would really truly be shamefaced, not shameless. Now drop into verse 25. Verse 25. It says, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So when it says dog in the G&T, you can go look this up. Don't take my word for it. It says bitch. What is a female dog in English terms? Is a bitch. That's a female dog. So a shameless woman is considered a dog, right? But she that is shamefaced, that woman that reverence or is embarrassed, right? She will fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and her actions, her behavior, how her appearance is going to show that. In another sense, a woman without shame is compared to a dog, basically going into disrespectful or lowly, while a modest woman shows reverence to God, right? She has a high respect of the Lord, which goes into another example of fearing the Lord. Fearing the Lord is having reverence for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and being terrified of him, right? Because a woman was only created for a man. You were created for a man, to be a helpmeet, to be the things that he desire and wants, not for you, right? But let's continue going on. Let's go back to Proverbs. Let's read Proverbs 11 and 22. It says, as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. This is crazy. Now we comparing this woman to gold being in a pig snout, right? I believe nose. I believe so. I believe snout is going into his nose. Actually, let me look that up real quick. Please bear with me. I'm gonna look this up in the back channel. Snout. Yes, muzzle, face, or nose. The projecting nose and mouth of an animal, especially a mammal. So the snout is going into nose, right? So this woman is compared to a pig having gold in his nose. But in another sense, beauty is meaningless without virtue or discretion. It's like putting gold on a pig, right? And really going to this is just showing the mindset of our women now, where back in the day, women were covered up like jewels, right? But now in today, women are uncovered like Jews because they want to show it out. Guess what? That's not a real diamond. You know, like in the world, we be like, man, she a dime. Let me look up what did Muhammad Ali say to his daughter Hannah. I believe this is his daughter's name. It was something he said. Um, he said, Hannah, everything that God made a valuable in the world is covered and hard to get to. Where do you find diamonds? Deep down in the ground, covered and protected. I think it's more to it. Um, let's read. Let's read the actual article or the image that I had. This is Muhammad Ali seeing his daughter Hannah in clothes that showed too much skin. He said, Hannah, everything that God made valuable in the world is covered and hard to get to. Where do you find diamonds? Deep down in the ground, covered and protected. Where do you find pearls? Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, covered up and protected in a beautiful shell. Where do you find gold? Way down in the mine, covered over with layers and layers of rock. You got to work hard to get to them. Your body is scarce or sacred. You're far more precious than diamonds and pearls, and you should be covered too, right? And really, a virtuous woman, a woman that fears Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, is more valuable than diamonds and pearls. Not just a regular Jake woman walking down the street. Not this woman of today's society or even women in the 90s, unless she's coming in as faith, right? But truly, the daughters of Zion, you are, just in a plain sense, you are more valuable than diamonds and pearls, right? So the way that you move, how you talk, how you think, how you dress should be that example, right? So let's go to the next one. We're going to go to Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. Isaiah chapter 3. And we're going to read verse 16 and 17. It says, Moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughter of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tickling with their feet. Therefore, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts, right? And this lines up symbolically with the southern kingdom, right? This goes with the southern kingdom, but as a whole, this can afflict the whole 12 tribes, just like Jada Pickett, Apisha, I think I'm saying it right, the little disease that she got where she can't grow her hair, but then you got it in a natural sense where a lot of the southern kingdom, their hair can't even pass their shoulders. And most of the time, it's probably just going to the mid part of their shoulders, mid part of their backs. They're not having long hair like some of the Gadites, right? Or, the Ephraimites or Manassites, right? But you'll have some in the northern kingdom that can't grow their hair either, or having some type of sickness. But in another sense, judgment comes to the women who are proud, flirtatious, and shows off their beauty ignorantly. This is why, what's her name, Cardi B can go through what she's going through. Now again, men are going to be attracted to women, so women can't use the defense. But in this society, I understand. But still, in reality, people don't want to accept the truth. Men are going to be attracted to other women. It's impossible because the Lord created women from men, and that's our body. Let alone we create millions of sperm each day, one woman can't handle that, right? Watching Pop the Balloon, a man said he wanted 10 children. She said, oh, dang, how am I going to lose weight? How my body? I know women that had 7 or 8 children and their body is right. Right, of course, the taco ain't going to be, how when you first had her, but still at the end, majority, if a man wanted to be fruitful, he will plant seed in different women, just being honest. But in this society, flirtatious is pushed. Like women that are in CNA, I seen videos and I seen this in real life where a woman, well, I seen it in real life where when I did work in, the medical field, cleaning up bathrooms like maintenance, or in other jobs too, chefing, where some women at work will have work booze, and then in real life, outside of work, they got a real man. And even that work boo, somehow he's getting some, So women are flirtatious, smiling all in the man's mouth, laughing at every joke, touching him. However it is, women that are really of the faith don't do that because they're shamefaced. They're embarrassed to give that same attention that they do to a man. Let alone, you have to know a man is gonna have a logic. If you're giving him too much attention, if you giggling too much, it will make a man think I can make the booty jiggle, right? You expressing your life and talking and letting out secret things that or talking about your husband, that can always play a role too. Women that are shamefaced, and if she's working a job, she keeps strictly work, keep it moving. If she's out of work going shopping, she communicate that, no, I got a husband. As soon as you see a man interest in you, what's her name? I forgot the lady name and the dude name, but it's an actor. I think it's the actor that played in Kevin Hart's TV show, the light skinned dude. I forgot his name, but he's bald headed. His girl said that she wanna kind of like she's bored, like she feel like she lost her touch. She don't think she's attractive, so she want to be single. And through the spirit, I just seen a video on TikTok where a woman was married for 17 years, and she started to get bored. The excitement wasn't the same anymore, so she divorced her husband and tried to get new. That relationship didn't work, and now she trying to go back to her ex-husband who she divorced, and now he got options. She's the side woman, and now why can't men just stay in one cycle just with one woman like me? And she's complaining about, now that she came back, now this man don't got the mindset like you the only one. You were bored. Now you wanted somebody new, and that didn't work out. And literally, a marriage is not about being excited. This is not about excitement. This is till death do us part. And how the Lord set this up. A woman really shouldn't even be coming out her mouth of a divorce. This is not about no damn excitement. Truly, another thing a lot of men and women are not knowing when you get into this marriage, especially an Israelite woman, we're working towards this marriage to get into the kingdom, to have immortality. You are a man's possession. Like a phone is a possession, right? You are a man's possession. There ain't no excitement. You his possession. And even more, this is another example, sidebar, where when a man does work, I'm using this as an example, like he's trucking, he don't have a lot of time in the house, or if a man had another woman, right, that is another way where you get your excitement back, because you miss that person, you get that excitement back. I'm just using this as an example, because again, women are flirtatious. So in a marriage, you should have your own excitement with your husband, right? Where you might act like somebody that he might, hey, yo, why don't you act like this woman, or change your name? Like, you should have your own excitement and flirt with your husband, right? Make up your own excitement to bring that interest instead of flirting with somebody new, because truly what goes on the right hand side or even the left, that leads into adultery. Especially if you flirt with another man, that's adultery, right? If you're showing off your beauty ignorantly, especially outside of your husband, you going off, right? Because your beauty is really for your husband. Now, if you out looking good, there's nothing wrong with going out looking good, but don't use your good looks to bring in wrong attention, right? Don't give mixed signals. You gotta do feeling like you flirting, but you ain't flirting. That's why women, you should be fixing that, right? Because you belong to that man if he is putting that rod in there. Doesn't matter every day, every other week, every other month. It doesn't matter. You're his possession. Through the spirit, you should look like you belong to somebody, right? So, Lord willing, this is edifying, and straight to the point. Literally, we just trying to dissect the point of a shameless and an immodest woman, and this is usually described as a woman who lacks discretion or humility or virtue according to the Lord's scriptures, according to the Lord's word, right? And the opposite of these things, we have other behaviors that pertain to righteous behavior, um, which is the opposite of a shameless or immoral woman. So it's better to be a virtuous woman, which even lines to women that are virgins, but a virtuous woman of how you hold your mannerism, your behavior, your content, especially as a woman that's married or a woman that is single, because still you have to remember you are the daughters of Zion and you reflect off of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, regardless if you accept it or not. But I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Akakwadash, the Wadi Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai for this lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying to the sheep, even to my house, whoever you may be. And double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. And shalom to the Akwath Yum, that are believers in His faith and His truth. Lord willing, that you all continue to endure and be sincere. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in faith. Shalom.